In order to determine whether or not an antique brooch that was found on Lot 21 is partially made of gold, his son Alex and his buddy Craig Tester traveled to St. Mary's University in Halifax. The brooch was discovered this year and was inspected by a geologist. Dr. Krista Bro, an associate professor of chemistry who specializes in electrochemical chemistry, as well as metals and their chemical compositions, along with her colleague, Dr. Xiang, are joined by Dr. Bro and Xiang in order to investigate the chemical composition of the brooch and determine whether or not it is composed of gold or any other precious metals. Employing a scanning electron microscope with a high level of optical power, after magnifying the brooch to a magnitude that is tens of thousands of times larger than its true size, the team will analyze its chemical makeup in order to discover whether or not it is composed of gold or any other valuable metals. Pure copper can be found in the dark area, whereas gold can be found in the light area. This is the very first piece of gold that has been certified to have been discovered on Oak Island, and it is regarded as a treasure. In light of the fact that Marty Lagena is thrilled about the discovery and intends to bring in the motherlode this year, he calls a meeting in the war room to inform his brother Rick and the other members of their team about the wonderful news. Marty Lagena, his son Alex, and his friends, together with his business partner Craig Tester, are going to St. Mary's University in order to investigate the prospect of discovering gold in an antique brooch that is located on Lot 21. A key event in the history of the Oak Island treasure hunt has occurred when Rick and Marty Lagena, along with their team, have found their first gold on Oak Island. This discovery marks a crucial development in the journey. They are pushed back further in time than they ever imagined they would be able to see here, as a result of the finding of a brooch and a lead cross that may be older than they ever anticipated. The Oak Island treasure hunt, which has been going on for 223 years, has just started, and the team is currently conducting a new probe drilling operation from within the garden shaft. This operation is being carried out by representatives from Duma Contracting Limited in order to search for valuables just outside the structure. The dilapidated 80-foot deep shaft, which is currently being refurbished by Duma, has yielded high trace evidence of gold through water testing, and it may also be located within a few feet of a potential treasure chamber that is connected to the original money pit. Marty Lagena is hoping to find something extremely substantial in the garden shaft, which is where the treasure search actually begins. They came upon a void in this location, which is roughly 10 feet deep. This void could be a hint of an offset chamber, or it could be a sign that they have found something unexpected. Now that Duma has reached a depth of 55 feet in the reconstruction of the garden shaft, they are about to manually probe drill a number of boreholes that will reach several feet outside of the structure in the hopes of reaching the void and determining what it might contain. In conclusion, the fabled Money Pit treasure vault is currently being reconstructed. The discovery of gold on Oak Island marks a significant step forward in the search for answers to the Oak Island treasure hunt. The team from Duma is using a powerful hydraulic earth drill to probe the garden shaft, using 12 holes at different angles to look for evidence of man-made workings and potential valuables. They are drilling through the tight lining of the shafts, cutting through a small piece of wood on every hole. This wood has been detected as having high gold values in the area. The team is interested in the wood samples and soil samples, and Rick is going to bring them to Emma to dig them out. Emma has shared some news about the gold in the wood, which is surprising. The wood samples extracted from a depth of 55 feet inside the garden shaft contain high trace evidence. At a concentration of
This is supported by evidence such as the valve and the cavity beneath the trapdoor. In this case, things are becoming increasingly intriguing. Perhaps intelligent infrastructure is used to construct the underground tunnels. They may be developing a hydraulic system to control the flow of water. However implausible it may seem, let's experiment with it anyway. It is prudent to use pipelines instead of open tunnels. The island's rugged terrain was only marginally suitable for tunneling. If water were to flow through certain areas, they might erode or collapse. Why then not utilize pipes to maintain a constant flow without endangering a collapse? At this point, things become even more pleasurable. Let's investigate the origins of pottery, my companion. We are discussing a technique that has existed since Roman times: clay pipes. Before, these pipelines were formed around a wooden structure, but it was difficult to connect them seamlessly. They ingeniously employed the potter's wheel, which originated in ancient Samaria around 3500 BCE. Incredible, right? Nevertheless, there's more. We should talk about glazing. You know, the protective layer that prevents water from permeating clay and causing damage to ceramics. Roman glazing techniques were extraordinarily inventive. They utilized salt, lead, and tin, invented later, to create an impregnable, complex covering. At this point, things begin to become somewhat chaotic. A pottery instructor asserts that adding saline or ocean water to clay causes its surface to bloom. The kiln firing process produces a beautiful salt patina. Can you imagine the ancient Romans using ocean water to produce these beautiful orange peel textured pipes? Mind-blowing. Let's discuss the pottery object discovered by Laird on the island. Laird believes it dates from the first half of the 18th century, but who knows? It could, after all, be a conduit. What is it? Though it does not appear to be a conventional straight pipe. Not every conduit needs to be straight. This component may be included in a conduit system with a radius of 12 to 14 inches. What is this then? Similar to the redware discovered on Oak Island, this object was crafted from clay. It could be a piece of the puzzle. Let us introduce you to the Romans once more. They were skilled at installing pipelines. Instead of using a single large conduit, they created these intricate pipelines comprised of numerous smaller pipes. It enabled them to regulate water flow and pressure adequately. A unique archaeological image of a Roman pipe reveals the sophistication and complexity of their systems. What is the future? Oak Island may have had a comparable system. You are in store for one more astounding realization. Are you still familiar with the Great Quadrilateral? Recently, essentials have begun to appear in unexpected places. Additionally, they were discovered at the Israeli castle of Belvoir. Are you serious? These nails, found throughout Notre Dame, date to the 1160s and were used to secure stones together during construction. Discuss prehistoric engineering techniques. Then, what does this signify for Oak Island? Well, it's all speculation. We are merely investigating the options for fun. But here's a wild idea. What if these materials discovered on Oak Island were used in an architectural marvel? They may have been part of an intricate structure that required precise stone binding. What is the future? Everything fits into the Oak Island arrangement. Let's mention the stone wall they discovered before we conclude. Even though it is not a wall in the traditional sense, it resembles a circle of pebbles in that it is filled with trash. What is this then? Underneath it, charcoal was discovered. There is still a great deal of data to locate and integrate. Subscribing to the channel will provide you with access to more blues from the world of mysteries. As we conclude our investigation of Oak Island's secrets, it is important to note that all hypotheses remain speculative. However, the investigation of
using cutting-edge equipment like sewer cameras and casings, Rick Lagena and his crew are plunging into Oak Island's garden shaft in an attempt to locate an old tunnel that may be concealed underneath. They find charcoal and red pottery that allude to ancient tales of the island's past, but they are at a loss and resolve to step up their efforts. Lear and Larry think they might locate a metal-filled tunnel leading to a secret vault after finding a mixture of clay and wooden fragments. Deep within the shaft, Gary Drayton, a specialist with a metal detector, detects signs of copper, silver, and gold. The team keeps looking and finds more than 1,000 lead tokens and a few antique coins from the same period as the lid cross they discovered before. But no treasure is discovered, and the mystery is still unexplained. The group chooses to go farther into the garden hole in the hopes of discovering a secret tunnel beneath. They also investigate other areas of the island, like Lot 26's historic well, which they estimate was constructed in the 11th century. After overcoming challenges in the garden shaft with a larger drill bit, the crew turns their attention to Lot 5, hoping to strike it rich with gold and silver. They think that someone concealed something important there a long time ago, but it feels more like a fairy tale than real life. There is still a slim chance that they might hit gold this time, even if some people doubt they will discover anything significant. Marty Lagena and Rick, two brothers, have an obsession with Oak Island's fabled treasure. They first became interested in treasure after finding a peculiar rock in their hometown. They persuaded Marty and his pals to dig around it because they thought it might hold something precious, and the excitement of the pursuit has developed into a fierce treasure hunt. The Lagena brothers continue their journey despite many setbacks and criticisms, sharing their exploits on television. As they go deeper into the earth, they discover little, unrelated objects that give them hope. These minor revelations are hailed as important hints that keep the story captivating for the audience and can persuade the brothers to carry on their search. As each digging season comes to an end, they prepare for the next one in the unwavering hope that the next dig will reveal Oak Island's hidden wealth. This cycle of excitement and disappointment characterizes their treasure hunts and appears to be a major theme in their life. The team and onlookers are feeling both excited and skeptical about the recent actions of Duma Contracting Company at the Garden Shaft. Under the direction of a plan created by Tom's late father, Fred Nolan, the group embarks on a new journey. The account is made more complex by the finding of a four-sided shape in the 9S close to Nan's Cross. The enigmatic island known as the Treasure of Oak Island has rich soil and a fascinating past that has captivated people for years. In an effort to learn more about the island's past, the crew is delving further into its history and geography. They are searching wells along the quadrilateral and close to Fred Nolan's land in the hopes of discovering something significant. As part of its investigation plans, the crew intends to dig into the ground and symbolically delve into the island's past in the hopes of discovering more than just tangible artifacts. The island has yet to produce any gold, despite several tries using metal detectors and thorough inspections. Instead, they discover another rosehead spike that resembles those discovered close to the Money Pit and Smith's Cove. The group speculates that this spike might have been utilized to dig subterranean shafts. A hand-forged hook from the 1600s has also been found. They think that this hook might have been a component of an antiquated block and tackle system that was employed for a variety of jobs, perhaps even tunnel building. The hook's discovery, which is thought to have occurred between 1650 and 1690, adds mystery to Oak Island's tale and keeps viewers and treasure seekers interested. For more than 200 years, the Lagena brothers and their group have been exploring Oak Island in quest of undiscovered gems. The fascinating story of in-depth history and the thrill of perhaps touching something that hasn't been touched in hundreds of years are what motivate them on their quest. The Money Pit, a meticulously built pit full of logs and perhaps other items like coconut fibers, is the most recent discovery. The brothers found a sunken ship close to the Money Pit, despite the hole's clever design, indicating that people have been on the island for more than 400 years. This motivated them to learn more about the island's past in an effort to determine who visited there initially and the reasons behind the Line brothers' fascination with it and its riches. An old log road known as Corduroy Road was found in 2006 by archaeologists